thumbs down in the chat, and then we'll get everything started. Of course, if you have any questions, please drop them into the chat, and we'll get this live stream going. And how is everybody doing this fine Saturday morning? Hopefully, you are a awake and or in the process of waking up. I am. I've been up since right around 8:30 or so. So I've been up for a little bit and just did a few things around the house and trying to get back to normal after a vacation. So life has been fun this week, and hopefully you all had a good week and you all can hear me. So thumbs up if you can, thumbs down if you can't. Also, while you are giving thumbs up and thumbs down, if you like the live stream at some point, of course, give it a thumbs up. So, anyways, some links in the chat if you have any questions or need more information, and feel free to ask the questions that you may have. So, get this live stream started. So this week, my wife and I went on to a. Okay, thumbs up. Good. Thank you very much. My wife and I went to down south Indiana and stayed in a cabin in the woods of Brown County, and it was fun. Got to spend some time out in the sun and swim in the pool and get in the hot tub. Get even hotter. It was pretty warm for Nashville, Indiana. But it was nice. It was a fun time. And of course, took some audio gear along so that I can start preparing for the next reviews. And everything was going good. So it was a fun week. We'll get back to reviewing. Yeah, it went good. It was a good time and an enjoyable time. And the last couple weeks have been rather busy with work and a few other things going on. And then this past week had vacation, so hopefully we can get back to doing 2 reviews a week coming up in the near future. And the uh, the schedule has been rather busy for me, and so we'll do what we got to do to get the videos out and get the reviews out. Normally, I do talk about what is on the review schedule. We have some very interesting gear, not anything that is kind of more hyped. It's actually some very unique stuff. So the next video that's going to be coming out will be the V-Moda Crossfade 3 wireless. I don't review a whole lot of wireless headphones, but V-Moda reached out to me, asked me if I'd be willing to review those for them, and I said, sure, why not? So be looking for that review coming up in the next week, the V-Moda Crossfade 3 wireless. We also have a interesting DAC amp, more gaming focused, and that's going to be the Sound Blaster X4 from Creative, and that one will be getting a review also pretty soon. We have a couple of things that got sent over from Keep Hi-Fi, a couple of from KB Ear, and those are the Storm and the Ink 2. Those reviews will be coming. We have a speaker amplifier from Fosse Audio, the Fosse Audio V3, and that one will be getting a review. Not sure when that review will be coming, but we'll be getting that one out at some point. The V3, and then we have a couple things coming from Urzatich headphones, and we have a on-ear headphone called the Thalia, and then we also have an over-ear called the Mania. Both of those are dynamics and very interesting headphones. So be looking for those reviews. Those will be coming sometime in the near future. Ico sent over a couple of headphones as well. They sent over the new OH10S, and then they also sent over the OH300. So those reviews will be coming. Now, those are really cool shells. They have this glass type of, it's chronomatic, or I can't remember exactly what word, chronophonatic, something. Anyways, it changes in sunlight and it changes colors. It's really cool, kind of like having shaded glasses on. And then Heidi sent over their new one, the MS3. Let's see what else we got here. We got Civga sent over the Luon, which is a new headphone, over-ear headphone, about the $300 price point. Let's see what else we got here. We've got the Dunu Kima Classic. So this is the revised version of the original Kima. And then we also have the Let's Sure DZ4 and a few other things that are on the list that may or may not. And then we also have some stuff coming. So that'll be very interesting. All right, enough of that. So that's what you can look forward to in the future. Let's see. What do we got comment wise? I saw some comments pop up here. All right. So good morning, Dave. This is from Dijon. D. We'll call you D. Good morning, Dave. Looking to upgrade from the Rapco Hook X. What would you suggest? $400, $500. Blessing 3 is a very good option. Another one would be if you. There's not a whole lot of open backs in that, like the Hook X is. So you would probably be a little bit limited. Fio may fit in there. Let me check. I can't remember the price point of that. Yeah, the FH9 is 600, so that's a little too much. You could go with, if you can go just beyond the 500 price point, you could go with the Zen's Mangard Top. And then, let's see. What else would you have in that price point? You could do the Heidi's MS5. That is kind of like a more fun sound signature, and you have the tunable filters on it. That may give you a little bit of that bass and warmth that the Hook X has, but the treble presentation is a little bit different. So there are a couple options. I would, if it was me, I would stick with the Blessing 3, to be honest. Good question, though. All right, let's see what else we got here. Any other questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, ideas, anything that's been rumbling around upstairs for you since the last live stream that we did, or anything from videos that I posted, anything like that? I'm just curious. Let's get the brains rolling this Saturday morning. Saw a question come through here over on Discord. All right. So some people have asked, do I have a Discord? Yes, I do. I do have a Discord. It is private. If you are interested in joining my private Discord, you can get access to it by supporting me on Patreon. So any of the tiers over on Patreon will get you access to Patreon. I believe it's $10 or higher will get you access to Discord if you are interested in joining over on Discord with a very nice selection of people over there. Very knowledgeable, very kind, thoughtful, polite, and they will answer any questions that you have, and we have some nice discussions about things. So if you're interested. All right, let's see. Jim says he was given the Truthier Project Red for Father's Day. I then purchased a Hexa. I'm not particularly happy with either. What would the next step up? Okay, so the red is a little bit more neutral, natural sounding, but it's a little bit on the boring side. The Hexa is a little bit more analytical and has a little bit less of a natural sound signature to it. So you depend on the price point and what sound signature you're looking for. If you're looking for something kind of in between the two and price point, you could go with a Moondrop Kato. If you're looking for something that leans a little bit more Project Red, but has a little bit better technical capabilities and a little bit more of a natural presentation, you get and is not as expensive as the Kato, you could go with the C Audio Galileo. If you want to spend a little bit more money, you could go and you want to stay kind of in that neutral, natural presentation. You could go with the Moondrop Blessing 3. Or if you want a pure natural type of, or excuse me, neutral type of sound signature, you could go with a JQ4U Pro. It's a little bit source picky. Or you could go even higher. You could go Soft Ears Studio 4. If you want something a little bit more fun sounding, there's all kinds of options. You have the Thea Audio Elixir, which would be a very good choice. Moondrop Kato kind of fits in the mold between the two. Um, that would be kind of where I would start looking. All right, let's see what else we got here. D says, thanks a ton. Blessing 3 it is. Awesome. Look forward to hearing your impressions of the Blessing 3. Fred asks, what do you think of the shit Erd, which was released? Erd, that's the CD transport. Very, very curious about it. I have a lot of CDs, and I do burn most CDs onto a local drive and then play them back through. And so I listened to a lot of CDs. I was gifted a bunch of them actually by a subscriber and friend of the channel, which was very nice. Um, so um, I'm very curious. I haven't used a CD transport, so to say. I've used some CD players, but the CD player I have is just a little USB plugged in um, player. So I would be very curious about it, and I would love a chance to hear it and use it. What is the best budget IEM in your opinion? So budget, let's consider budget $50 or less. If we're doing $50 or less, there are a couple that come to mind. Tin Hi-Fi T2 is just a fantastic value, even though it is several years old. It still outperforms a lot of IEMs in that price point. You also have one if you want to go really cheap. If you want to go $25 budget, you're at the Tanzu One Year is actually really good, very natural sounding. It's not the greatest with detail retrieval, but it does a really good job of in tonality. Um, if you want to go 50 and to 100, or right around 100 ish, I would go with the Seattle Galileo. I think the Galileo is a very good budget IEM. Has a very nice natural tone to it. Is it a little bit on the boring side? Yes. But I do think that for what it offers, it does a very good job for the price point. You also have a couple others in there that you could throw, like the Katori Dauntless, but that doesn't play with all genres, and some may find it a little too elevated. So I'm thinking the Galileo would probably be the safer option. Um, so I would stick with those: the T2, the Wannier, and the Galileo as my three options, depending on price point. Now, some would say $1,000 is a budget. So, uh, you, if that's the case, let me know in the comments, and I can throw out some more. Let's see. Hey, you're very welcome, Jim. Let me know if you have any questions. There are reviews of all those on the channel, and there's probably in the comments. There's probably a lot of comparisons that might be able to answer some questions as well. Um, and then, whoops, sorry about that. The If you have any other questions, or you want a different suggestion, if something doesn't seem like it's gonna fit in, just let me know. Christopher asks, "What's the news on shit changing their branding and name?" Oh, I hadn't heard about that. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. Um, Jim says he has 4,000 CDs and 900 LPs, and he still buys them. Wow. I don't have 4,000 CDs. I'm probably more in the 1,500 to 2,000 CDs range, somewhere around the house. I've downloaded the majority, excuse me, the majority of them. Um, and then LPs, I don't have any as far as that. I do purchase a lot. I purchase um, quite a few actually, usually at least once a month or so from various places. So I can download them. Most of my music now is downloaded. Um, Block says that he just received my 1 year free hours ago. Very good IEM. Yeah, it's for the price of the 1 year. It's a very solid performer. And if you really want a neutral, a kind of naturalist type of sound, not the greatest at detail retrieval and resolution, but a good starting point of what a neutral natural sound should be, the 1 year is one of the IEMs that you should look at. If you want something a little stepped up from the 1 year, go with the Tin Hi-Fi T2. Um, Fred says, I think shit might send you one for review. Well, that would be awesome if they did. I haven't been contacted by them, but I'd thoroughly enjoy it. Let's see here. D says, would you consider the FH9 better than the Blessing 3? I can try to increase my budget if you feel the additional investment would be justified. That's a good question. FH9, it's been a while since I heard it, and if I remember correctly, it's a little bit more mellow. Um, the it, it may be a little bit more mellow and a little bit warmer sounding, and the soundstage may not be quite as expansive and as exacting as the Blessing 3. Blessing 3 is going to lean a little bit more towards studio sound. It's going to be a little bit more for like mixing and mastering type of sound. So its presentation is going to be a little bit more. Whereas the FH9 is going to be a little bit more of the hi-fi sound. It's going to be a little bit more mellow, a little bit more chill. You're still going to get a lot of details and resolution with it, but I think that the Blessing 3 will outperform it in the technicalities and in the soundstage. Um, so they're different presentations. Both are really good though. Personally, for me, I would probably pick the Blessing 3 over it just because that's kind of my presentation I'm looking for is a little bit more neutral, a little bit more studio reference type of sound. Let's see. I saw another question pop up here. That's a good question. I hadn't thought of that one, so thank you for making me think about that comparison. Let's see. Block originally ordered and received the QKZ, but the base quantity was too fatiguing. 1 year is so much more enjoyable. Yes, the QKZ definitely has a lot of bass and is a very hard, heavy, forced type of bass, in my opinion, and it just doesn't sound accurate. And it's like having subwoofers right here, and over time, it'll just pound you to death and just give you a headache. In my opinion, whereas the 1 year has a more accurate and true sounding bass and a better reproduced sound of what bass should be. Whereas the QKZ is just more of a over exaggerated style of bass. Okay, so uh, D says that he thinks that the name change for shit was an April Fool's Day joke from one of the reviewers, forgetting who. Interesting. Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about that. There's a lot of play on words with that brand, so but I would love to hear their stuff. How do you back up your CD collection? I went to convert my old CDs to FLAC. So basically, I use like a program that's very simple, either like Windows Media Player, and then you just change your select the options to burn the CD, whether or not you want to do MP3, FLAC, if you want to upsample it or downsample it. I usually do it just to FLAC, and it'll do it automatically if you have Windows. There's other programs that you can use that you can change other settings. I can't remember the names offhand. If you're on Apple, sorry, I don't know that. But most of the time, if you just on Windows, if you just plug a CD player into the USB, let's say it's a USB CD player, um, Windows will determine what program to use automatically because it already has Windows Media Player loaded into it from startup. So it'll just go, whoop, you're playing a CD. Would you like to use this? And then it'll give you the options to burn and stuff. You'll just have to go up and hit the settings and stuff. Hopefully that helps. And if anybody else has any other information or another program that they should use, feel free to post it in there. But that's the way I do it. Let's see. Amar says, Dave, may I know in your opinion, what's the best hybrid IEM under 250 that you've reviewed? Ooh, that is a good question. Hybrid IEM under 250. All right, gotta go to my cheat sheet so I can determine which ones fit into that price point. So bear with me just a moment here. And let's sort that by price. Let's go to 250 and under. Okay, so let's see, all BA, 1DD, 1D. Okay, so Ganyan Aladdin was pretty good. And bear with me though, I'm just reading through here. Let's see. For you Pro, JQ For You Pro, a Foo Performer 5. Let's see what else fits into that. We've got some older stuff. Yume 2. Planar. MBA. Okay, so I would go with those three. The JQ For You Pro, if you're looking for a neutral natural sound, which is what I'm looking for, I would go with that. The other options that I mentioned, which are the AFU Performer 5s, I have not heard the Performer 8 yet. And then you had the, what was the other one I mentioned? And then you had the Ganyan Aladdin. Those are good, solid performers for like just an overall general sound all rounders. The For You Pro kind of fits my style better and my preference. So I would say the For You Pro from JQ is the best of the IEM hybrids I've heard 250 or under at this moment that I can think of. All right, good question. Let's see here. So another question come through. Jim says that's really interesting. D says thank you for the clarification. You're very welcome. Jim agrees that Windows Media Player is good to use. And then let's see. Yeah, spam. Yeah, it can do all sorts. It can do your library, it can sort things. You can use it as a media player itself. It does videos, it does CDs. You can convert, upload, sample, all that kind of stuff. It does all that. It's really cool. It's a good little program. Thoughts on the DZ4? Okay, so review will be coming in a couple weeks. I've only had it for a couple of days. I didn't have it with me on vacation, so I heard it before I went to vacation. I haven't heard it since I got back. DZ4 is interesting. So it's got a totally different style of driver technology, and it it presents things in a very different way than the normal in its price point. And it's going to come in somewhere, I think around $80, is what I heard. Um, And for that price point, it does a totally different presentation as far as being a little bit more of a big bass, but yet not like domineering type of sound. I'd have to listen to it again, but DZ4 is different. We'll just put it at that at the moment. Do I like planar IMs? Yes. I've had some good experiences with planar IMs. I have also had some odd and strange interactions with planar IEMs. They're a little bit picky. I do find that they tend to be a little bit source picky, and most of them have required some power and a good pairing of an amplifier. So yeah, planars they're tricky. They aren't really my first pick as far as overall tonality and abilities as an IM normally. Rico, hi Dave. I'm really looking for an upgrade to my B3. I love the vocals with a good bass and of course great soundstage. Do you recommend $1,000 range IEM? Sure, I got some $1,000 IEMs on my list here. So if you go back to the tier list I put up on the um, top of the list, in fact, I'll drop it into the comments right now for you all so that you can use that. So let me go over here. Oops. As usual, Dave forgets how to use his computer. There we go. All right. So there you go. There's a link to the tier list that I'm referencing. And then we will go back to that tier list I was just on. Okay, so $1,000 upgrade to the Blessing 3. So in the $1,000 price point, or up to $1,000, I don't have a ton of items that have come in for review. Some of these I have purchased myself and then reviewed. So that there's a gap there. If you want to send over some, feel free. All right, so in the $1,000 ish range, you would have the let's see. You have the Meze Ray Penta at 1100, but that's a totally different presentation, very intimate. It's more a ooey gooey type of sound, more a little bit more going into the hi-fi ish type sound. You have the Fearless Audio Roland, but that is starting to show its age. It does vocals very good, and it has a nice textured, powerful bass. But it's a little bit laid back in the treble, and it doesn't have the excitement and that airiness that the Blessing 3 has. The Chimera Nana 2.1 Z is an interesting sound that you get the big bass, you have the warmth to it, you get details and resolution and a nice stage, but it's not as technically capable as the Blessing 3 as far as precision and placement and exacting in the stage. And vocals are a little bit more of a V-shaped sound, so you get a little bit unbalanced in the mids. Let's see. Meze Advar is very interesting as well, but the Advar is going to be a little bit more mid focused and treble focused, and you're going to have big bass, but it's a unique way of presenting, and the mids and treble actually do get a lot of the more focus on it, and it can hit you in the wrong spot in the upper mids. personally, for me, if I was upgrading from the B3, I would either go with the Studio 4 or the Zen's Mangird top. If you want a little bit more fun side, I would go with the top. If you want a little bit more studio analytical side, I would go the Soft Ears Studio 4. Um, the Audio Clairvoyance may be up there as well, but I believe that's getting a revise. So those would be kind of the ones I would look at in the $1,000 price point. But again, my experience from about 500 to 1,000 is limited. So if you want to jump up and double that, you could go. Actually, it's on sale right now for 1,200. You get the CTM DaVinci 10. They're normally $2,400. CTM has them on sale 50% off for 1,200. If you can go to 1,200, I'd recommend CTM DaVinci 10. That's the definite step up from the Blessing 3. But that's if you can go up to 1,200. Everything else kind of falls in there, but to me, Blessing 3 to CTM DaVinci 10 is the step to go. Good question. All right, let's see what else we got here. Amir, you're welcome for the recommendations. Go ahead and check them out, and if you have any more questions, you'll feel free to ask, and I'll do the best I can to answer them. DJ, just got here. Have you reviewed the quintet yet? Everyone's been talking about. No, haven't. Waiting for mine to arrive. It is somewhere across one of the many oceans. So trying to get one in to review. Jim says he needs to learn about planars. He uses Magnepan 2.5s in his main listening room. Awesome. Magnepans are really cool presentation. Let's see. Let's mobile. What's the most neutral set that you've ever tried? IEM wise, I would probably go as far as IEMs 500 ish. I would go Studio 4. Over a 500 CTM DaVinci 10. Spam. Seconding quintet. I enjoyed my Cadenza. I'm curious to see what Kiwi ears can do with the extra drivers and budget. Yeah, absolutely. The quartet was an interesting device. I had a few flaws on it. Curious to see the little slight difference that the driver technology makes with the quintet. Kiwi ears can put out some really good devices with orchestra light, and the Cadenza for being a budget is a fun sound. The quartet just didn't mesh with me very well. Let's see, Rico, Mess 2, Monarch Mark 2, really interesting for maybe. Yeah, I haven't heard either one of those actually. So, but I've heard good things about them. Akmat says, "I'm new here." Oh, I'm sorry. I'm here now. I can read this morning. uh, I'm here now. Blessing 3 is awesome. Yeah, it is. I'm glad you enjoy it. I really like Blessing 3. Let's see. Actually, I think that is my second choice right after S8. S8's another one I haven't heard. Let's see. Lori, morning, Lori. For $1,000, you get more excited. My opinion, over the Moondrop Kato than any of the expensive ones. My imagination. Well, I do like my CTM DaVinci 10 quite a bit. Um, I listen to it and compare every single IEM, no matter the price point, to the CTM DaVinci 10. So that's my reference IEM. So I get excited about it. But I get excited about the cheap stuff too, and the middle tier stuff. Like, so yeah, I mean, you can get excited about your reference gear. This mobile. Do you think Studio 4 is better than the Blessing 3. Well, I mentioned it in the review. I did a comparison. They're a little bit different in their presentation. So the Studio 4 is more stage monitoring ish, and has a little bit more of a mids presence, and it's a little bit more full, and it's no weight, and has possibly just a little bit better tone and timbre. But the Blessing 3 has better detail retrieval and resolution, a little bit bigger of a stage, and is a little bit more spaced out, and is a little bit more studio mixing mastering reference side of things, whereas Studio 4 is a little bit more for stage. So they're a little bit different in presentation. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for to do with those two IEMs in the way that I would look at it. Let's see. Morning, Daves and viewers. Infinite Universe says, yes, exactly. Morning. And good question so far. Jose asks, do you change previous ranks due to better experiences as you listen to more IEMs? Yes, that is a live tier list. I do change rankings as I go. I might go back and listen to it over time, and do some comparisons, and I'll adjust the grade. So, yes, do keep that in mind when you look at it. You may look at it and then 6 months later come back and look at it and go, wait a minute, something was this and now it's this. It's because I've re listened to it or compared it, or something better just beats it out now. I try not to make it a massive adjustment like going from. An E tier, which is excellent, and amazing and the best thing ever, to like A, which is awful. I try not to do that. If I'm going to do something like that, I would probably do a video and be like, hey, so I re-listened to this and I thought it was really good and now it's not. But yeah, I might adjust it down by like a plus or a minus or something like that. Akhmut says the B3 is a resolution cannon. Yeah, absolutely. It is a very, very well defined and very refined, details and resolution. It does an exceptional job. That's where its specialty is. Let's see. The DJ says, thanks, Dave. Can't wait for your thoughts on the quintet. I was just about to buy them, but I'm holding off. All right. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I I hope to get them in soon. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take. Linsol is sending them over, so tracking says they are somewhere over the seas. Do I like the Mangard Zen's top? Yeah, absolutely. Love the top. Top's a very fun sound. It's one of those IEMs that does a nice balance between fun and neutral natural, and you get a nice all around experience with it. I wouldn't use it as a go to for monitoring, mixing, and mastering, and I would more use it for the fun side of things and for just everyday listening. But it could, in a pinch, do some of the other harder work stuff. Yeah, the top is fun. I like the top. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Good stuff so far. Let me check over on my other sources, see if anybody has sent questions. And oops. So the live stream's going well so far, and I do appreciate all the questions and comments. If you are enjoying it, give it a thumbs up. If not, I understand you have to give it a thumbs down. There's links down in the description of how you can contact channel, follow channel, support channel, all that kind of stuff is down below also, if you want that. And at the top of the chat, I put some links in for my website, for my tier list, and a couple other things. So check out those if you have any questions. And then somewhere in between, in the middle, I dropped the tier list also, so you can just scroll up. All right, so here we go. A couple more questions have come in. Are you planning on reviewing the Dunu SA6 Mark II? I have heard they are pretty good, and the tuning seems to be what I'm looking for. So many on my wish list as usual. I would love to hear a Dunu SA6 Mark II. Haven't been offered one yet, but if the funds become available or one is provided, yeah, I'll review it. I would love to hear it. Let's see, Dragnet. The Drop Dan Clark Audio Aeons or the Hi-Fi Man XS. First time on your live broadcast. Hey, thank you, Dragnet, for joining us. Um, Glad to have you here. Have not heard the Hi-Fi Man XS, Edition XS. I've only heard the Dan Clarks. Like the Dan Clarks a lot, actually. They are pretty good. Let's see, Apollo Moon. I received a quintet a couple days ago. Like them, they sound like the cadenza, yet brighter from 10 to 12K. Interesting. Okay, so they got the big bass, but they also have a little bit more excitement than the cadenza. That'll be yeah, interesting sound. What IEM do you prefer in the B3 price range? Somewhere around 300, 325. We're looking at some, obviously the Blessing 3. And then in that price range, you have to see Audio Bravery, which is a little bit different of a presentation, a little bit more V-shaped, a little bit warmer, a little bit bigger bass. The Bravery is a fun listen. Let's see what else we got here. If you want a true and bassy IEM and just a fun listen, not very natural or accurate, but just fun, lots of quantity. The Chimera Odor is a fun listen. Going down a little bit in price, you have the Kiwi Ears Orchestra Light. And then, of course, you have the JQ 4U Pro and the Zen's Mangird T2. All in about that same price point. Good question. Let's see what else we got here, question wise. Rico, you're very welcome. Good evening from Indonesia. Good evening from Indiana. Let's see, or actually, good morning from Indiana. Good evening to you. As I said, I'm way off on from vacation time. All right, so Joaquin, thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, let's see. Apollo, the QKZ HBB have excessive bass. Yeah, absolutely. I put the Triclarian ear tips on them to somewhat tame the bass. The combo makes the HBB pretty nice for listening to EDM. Interesting. Yeah, that bass is just so pounding and can be very fatiguing. I haven't tried the Triclarians. I should try it. Thanks for the suggestion. Let's see. Christopher, many cable companies that cater to audiophiles tend to overlook IEM cables. Are there any companies that do? Yeah, there's actually a few of them. You got Effect Audio. You've got Katori makes cables as well. Those are more IEM based. And then ones that do make IEMs and headphone cables, you've got Moon Audio. Trying to think of a few others. I believe Fog City is getting into IEMs. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong there, if you're watching. And then I think Heart makes both also. I could be wrong on that. And then there are a couple others that are slipping my mind. But yeah, you just have to really research that. But that is they kind of do separate themselves quite a bit. Let's see. Let's mobile. Have you tried the Ifu Performer 8? Have not yet. Hope to get one in at some point. D, thank you for the thumbs. All right, let's see. Mars says, love the B3. I increased the bass by sticking a 3mm 200 mesh tuning filter on both the mids and the high tubes. Enjoy it a lot, but I like it more in stock form. Interesting. Yeah, the Blessing 3 is just crazy good. Um, let's see. Fred says the Dan Clark closed X's Aeon closed are great. Yes, they are. I like the opens too. Both are really good. Let's see here. Apollo Moon Landing Open Heart makes some very nice IEM cables. Oh, interesting. I haven't heard of that one. Thank you. Um, Ink, Ink, I'll call you that. Orchestra Light and For You Pro you like a lot. Yeah, very good. Two very solid neutralish sounding IEM, especially For You Pro with its natural tone timbre. Good thing about the B3 is that you can have a less resolution sample on the red. True. What's my favorite IEM right now is still the CTM DaVinci 10. Dragnet, thanks for everyone's advice. Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for joining. So appreciate that. And let's see. D says that Litza has some audiophile IEM cables. Awesome. Let's see. D says, any thoughts on the 5 or the 8 from Afu? I just mentioned that I've only reviewed the 5. Hope to get the 8 in. This mobile. Do you like the audio Yume? The Yume, it's interesting. And Yume 2 is interesting. They both are um good performers. I prefer the Yume over the 2 just because the Yume 2 kind of loses what the Yume 1 did, which was a little bit natural and fuller note weight. The Yume 2 does add in a little bit of treble presence and a little bit of an upgrade when it comes to detail retrieval and resolution. But the to me the Yume is the original is a little bit more special than the second one, but they're both very good. So, overall, very good questions today. I like that. Any questions, comments, concerns, just drop them in there and we'll keep on chatting. We've got about 15 to 20 more minutes or so. We will. I have to take care of a few things around since I got back from vacation. So it's always like you get back from vacation and you're like, oh yeah, I need to do this, I need to do this, and you just have to get caught up again and get back into the flow of things. And yeah, kind of wish I could just stay on vacation all the time. Anyways, Galileo similar to the Yume. Ooh, not really, but kinda. So like that's an interesting comparison. So the Galileo is better detailed and resolving. And the Galileo is not quite as full sounding in especially in the bass. The Galileo is a little bit more better spaced as well. I would probably take hmm, I would probably take the Galileo over the original Yume, truthfully, because of its more naturalism. Yume 2 has a little bit more energy. That's a good comparison I had never thought of. That's a good one. Lori, you can retire like me. I wish I could. Um, let's see. Tell you what, if um, yeah, it'll come eventually. All right, let's see here. What is your favorite chill pill IEM to listen to when you're tired? Actually, when I'm tired, I listen to headphones. Um, it's really, really strange. But for me, when I'm in that mood and I just kind of want to chill and just kind of sit back and just get lost, um, I put headphones on. I put my Audeze LCD5s or the Sennheiser HD8XX on, and or the Hi-Fi Man Aria Stealth, and I just kind of get lost in the music. Um, for me, IEMs I can kind of chill with them and relax, but headphones kind of really does it for me. Um, so the Chill Pill IEM, that would probably be something like the Meze Ray Penta would probably be the one that I would kind of use for that. Let's see. Mike asks, "Have I ever listened to any ZMF headphones? If so, your thoughts?" Yeah, absolutely. Mostly audio shows. I haven't gotten anything in for a review. Way back yonder, the very early beginnings of my YouTube career, I had the ZMF Classic, the ZMF T50 mod. Um, and it was very interesting headphone, lots of bass, very nice vocals to it. As far as the other headphones, I haven't heard any of the new stuff because I haven't been to an audio show in a while, a couple of years. But the ones that I heard, very well built, nice and solid. Most of them are comfortable, can be heavy. Um, as far as sound signatures, they tend to be a little bit on the warm side, more natural tone and timbre, um, and they have a nice fullness to them. Depending on what model, and I don't remember all the models that I heard, some are better detailed than others, but the majority of them are very, very good technically. But that's just going off of audio show impressions. So if you have a ZMF that you would like to loan me, and let me review. Send it over. Contact me. Information down below how you can contact the channel. Let's see. Okay, Christopher asks, since your review on headphone cables a week or so ago, have you tried them on any other gear you have, and have you found out anything more? Well, considering that the cable that was sent, the Cardis cable, is only for Audeze, and I don't have anything else that connects with it other than the Urzatich. No, I haven't tried it on anything else. I did use it on the Urzatich for a brief moment, but I wasn't able to do any comparisons, and it's been a while since I heard it and been on vacation and haven't listened to any music. So um, I'll see if I can do some more listening and get back with you in regards to that, but I haven't done any real cable listening in a while. Do you use DAPs or DACs? I use both. DAPs I currently have are the Hibby R5 Gen 2, and then I have the Sony NWA 105, which is a little itty bitty one, and then the NW um, M1 that I use. And then as far as DACs, yep, absolutely use DACs and amps. And I have all sorts behind me. You really can't see them because my microphone's in the way. My Tech Liberty DAC, the Audeze Deckard, the Aune X1S GT. What else do I got back here? JDS Labs Atom Plus, SMSL. Was that the DO300? We got several, and then there's a bunch of others stashed away over in the corner. Let's see. All right, let's see here. Sop Pop Singer. Dave, welcome back from vacay. Great discussions this morning, but you still haven't answered an essential morning question. What's your coffee today? So my coffee today, I haven't been drinking it. Been talking too much, and I added too much creamer, so I kind of destroyed it. But it is a brew from. It's called Red Rooster Farms. Um, Very interesting. Can't say I've ever tasted a coffee quite like this. It's very much a like a hazelnutty, very nutty, um, and it's got a little bit of a bite to it. Wish I hadn't added so much creamer. Maybe that's softening it a little bit more. But yeah, it's Red Rooster Farms coffee. If you are interested in trying some of the coffees, now this is not sponsored, nothing like that. This is just telling you who I use coffee from. I'm part of a coffee club. It's called Trade Coffee, and so just check them out. And you can do like a monthly subscription. You can pick um, how many how much coffee you want to get and how often, and they do like this little quiz that talks about what are your preferences and that type of stuff. So it's kind of a good little thing that I enjoy because I get different types of coffee. Mars, do you have recommended hi-fi brands under $300? Brands. When you say headphones, are you talking actual over-ear headphones or an IEM? Um, so for IEMs, Tin Hi-Fi, Moondrop, um, are some of my more preferred brands there. ADV is another one. They do have some options under 300. ADV Sound. Kiwi Ears is becoming a regular recommendation as well. As far as headphones go, there's all kinds of headphones. Sennheiser, Hi-Fi Men are obvious. Um, Another brand that I use quite a bit actually that has come from Chi-Fi because Sennheiser, I guess Hi-Fi Man could be considered because they're Chinese, but the Sennheiser isn't really. Um, Headphone wise, the Audio and Harmonic Dyne have made some very good headphones in about $300 price point, and in fact, we've got a new one that'll be coming, and Sivga is also another company that fits into that price. We've got the Zeus Elite that will be coming out, and that one is supposed to be coming my way as well. I'm really looking forward to hearing the Zeus Elite. All right, let's see. What would be the open back equivalent of the Focal Elysia? Oof, it's been a long time since I heard since I heard an Elysia. Uh, hmm, that's a good question. I've only heard the Elysia at an audio show. So I'm going to pass on that and do some research. Ask me next time, and maybe I'll have an answer for you. Do apologize. I can't think of one at the moment. Um, do you think headphones is a step up from an IEM? For now, I love collecting IEMs due to the price to sound quality ratio. Now that's a good question, Mohammed. So not really. It's a different presentation. So you're going from they both do things good and bad, and they each present in a different way. So with an IEM, you're going to get a little bit more of a technical approach as far as like most of the time there'll be a little bit more um as far as being able to provide details and resolution. It'll be a little bit more of the way that they present it will be a little bit more clear, but you're going to miss out a little bit on space. You're going to miss out a little bit on like soundstage and tonality, and things won't be as large. So with a headphone, you get a larger presentation. Everything's just going to sound a little bit more close to a realistic presentation, and it won't be some of them can still do the presentation forceful like an IEM, but a lot of them won't be quite as intimate and small. You have a little bit more space and a little bit more openness, even with closed back and open backs. And then when you go to speakers, speakers opens that up even a little bit more, and you get a more closeness to real life. But that can vary. Some headphones, some IEMs, some speakers can do things differently, and some of them will amaze you in the way that they present things. You'll be like, wow, I didn't expect that an IEM could do that, or a headphone could do that, or didn't do that. So it kind of depends, but they all kind of do things differently. It's more presentation wise about the bigness and the height and the depth and the layering capabilities from IEMs to headphones to speakers, and then the way that they present the details and things like that are a little different. What kind of music do you listen to? For the most part, I listen to jazz, classical, and acoustical music. I listen to a lot of soundtracks, like movie scores, things like that. I also listen to a lot of progressive jazz and progressive classical. Um, so I do listen also to older rock, a little bit of metal, not the super heavy stuff, and not a lot of the modern stuff. And then I'll also listen to some country, and then I listen to a lot of Christian music, Southern gospel, quartets, that type of thing, and then some soloists like David Phelps, Steve Green, Sandy Patty. Let's Mobile. Do you like the timeless better than the heyday? Yes. To me, the heyday is good in certain regards, but it only fits into certain genres of music. The timeless is a little bit more of an all round, plays with all the genres. Also, the timeless has better vocals and has better treble presentation, in my opinion. Christopher, is there anything in the works that you know of from manufacturers that we, the community, should keep an eye out for, or what is soon to be released that looks exciting? Um, Not really. I mean, I'm not super in touch with that. Believe it or not, I don't delve deep into that type of stuff. I find out things a lot through live streams. One thing that I'm excited about that isn't released yet is the Zeus Elite. I'm looking forward to hearing that headphone. The Zeus was a very interesting sound, and the Elite sounds like they have um, expanded that a little bit, given it a little bit more bass presence and things like that. Um, but no, not really anything too super exciting. Do I use earbuds? No, not really. Earbuds kind of hurt my ears. They don't fit me very well. I find them very uncomfortable. Venture Electronics has sent me a lot of their earbuds to try, and I had to keep telling them I'm sorry. They're just not comfortable for me. They don't fit me properly. They sound good and all, but it just doesn't work for my ear. D, thanks for understanding. Let's see. D says, I've started to prefer IEMs over headphones as they're easier to hide from the wife. That makes sense. That's true. Um, Tend to kind of look similar. And so you're able to um, just kind of keep on walking. She'll think you have the same thing on. I understand that. Also, you can get more headphones, tend to be a little more expensive. Let's mobile. What ear tips do you like? Ear tips that I use Triclarian, CTM Flexi, JVC Spiral Dots. Let's see what else I got. All kinds I like. Um, I should do a video on different tips that I use. Those are kind of the main ones that I can think of at the moment. Um, Soft ears, UCs are really nice. There's all kinds. All right, let's see. Take a couple more questions here, and then I have to get out into the world and do a few things in town. Paul, late to the party, had to choose between cutting the grass, um, before the HOA and heat really kicked in. We're not doing anything till tomorrow. Well, I'm not going to be cutting the grass today because it's like freaky hot. It's supposed to be like 90 something Fahrenheit with like 70 to 80% humidity. So won't be doing that. It's supposed to cool down here in Indiana until about Tuesday. So I'll probably be cutting the grass then. But it is starting to look like a jungle in our front yard. Let's see. Jonathan, I've never been able to find aftermarket tips that are comfortable for more than a couple, 2 to 3 hours in seal well. Yeah, tips are very interesting because they they can alter the sound and they can also help with comfort, and you just kind of have to play around with them. And I own probably 20 to 30 different types of tips in varying sizes, and it's might even be more than 30. And it's just kind of a roll of the dice. I tend to review with stock tips. I will give a suggestion as far as an alternative if it's necessary, if I deem it to be really something that helps. But tips are just kind of a roll of the dice, and you just kind of have to play around with them. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Manufacturers do try to pair their IEM as best as possible with what tip they think. At least the quality IEMs manufacturers do. Um, some of the more cheaper budget stuff will just use the same tip with everything, and you can tell that they didn't do very much research with the tip. Let's see. Christopher says, please do an accessories are a big part of the hobby, and a variety of ear tips would be amazing to learn about. I can try to do a video of that. I don't know when it'll come out, but I'll put it on the list. Let's see. Let's mobile. Are you a cable believer? Kind of. Done some videos on it. Depends. And you're not going to hear the sound on everything. And it kind of is synergy with the gear from your source to the headphone. Cables can make a difference, but in my experience, don't normally. And sometimes they can change it from the stock sound to give you something that you prefer a little bit more, but it might not be what the manufacturer intended. So, yeah, cables is a interesting thing, and a lot of it comes down to synergy. The other thing that really impacts it is the impedance matching between your gear and cables and the drivers and transducers. Somebody that has done a lot of research on this and is still doing research, and he and I have been bouncing ideas back and forth, is wave theory. He has a really good series on it. It's kind of lengthy, but he talks about a lot of differences that cables can make and things that he's experienced. So I suggest you check that one out. Wave theory, and do a search on his channel. All right, let's see. Jonathan, I'm a medium 1 ear, small the other kind of guy though. Oh yeah, and that's where it comes into play where you would want to buy the the type the a lot of tips you can get either small, medium, or large, or you can get the value pack. Buy the value pack, even though it might be a little bit more expensive. You get all the sizes, and then you can try them. Um, that I'm able to use the same size, but I do buy the value packs because some tips and some IEMs fit better with smaller or medium or large. So that's how I tend to buy my tips. It kind of reminds you of a holster buy. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a gun guy, but I have some friends that are, and they've talked about how it fits, how it holds it, the positioning of it, that type of thing. Definitely the same. Also, phone cases, kind of the same. You would think, oh, this is my phone. Every case should fit the same. They don't. So it's kind of that way. Let's see. Do I EQ or not? No, I don't EQ on a regular basis. I will use it if I'm listening and I'm like, man, where is that kind of coming from? That sound, or this is an issue, and I'll see where it fits in and be able to tweak it accordingly. But I don't do it because of reviews. I want to review things as stock as possible. Also, I just prefer it to be, I'm kind of a purist when it comes to sound, so I don't use EQ in that regard. But EQ is a good tool, and I think unfortunately, a lot of reviewers use EQ as a crutch, and they don't review things as stock as they should, and so the review that you get is something that is being altered by them tweaking it instead of just telling you exactly how they hear it. But that's just my 2 cents. Yeah. The qualities of metals and the outer materials, and the 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 way that it's built with the packing of a cable, the insulations and things like that can impact and conduct less noise. So, and they can be a more sensitive or not as sensitive. So, yeah, I mean, there are variables in cables that definitely can add into that as well. And that does explain the price on some of the higher quality cables. It also explains the price for some of the snake oil cables. There are a lot of snake oil out there in the cable world. They make all of these claims, and then you listen to the cable and you compare it to another cable of lesser price or even a stock cable, and you're like, don't really hear the difference. I don't know exactly, and you're just buying it for the aesthetic or the name. So you do have to be careful on cables. And as I said, cables are it's a one of those topics. If you mention a cable, you're either gonna infuriate everybody, or you're gonna intrigue, or you're just gonna have a hodgepodge of mixed emotions. And it's it really comes down to synergy, impedance, and your personal experience. And because we only can hear what we hear, we can't hear what everybody else hears. There's no real way of verifying. All right, so let's see. Um, Need replacement headset cable for my headset Sennheisers. Sennheisers are fairly easy to come by, depending on the model. They can be a little bit expensive. Some, for whatever reason, some of the Sennheiser connectors must be harder to come by. Interesting. So Paul says he has a Creative Avrana 2 IEM that has a very narrow bore. Tried the only tips that were narrow enough from Westone Audio. Lost all bass using some foam sound much better. Now that's interesting. There are a few that may fit that. Etymotic makes a few different tips that are very narrow. Also, Westone, obviously. Trying to think. There's Me Audio. Theirs tend to be really small. You might be able to get some tips from them. Have Less Mobile? Have I tried a CIM? Yes, I own one. I have an Anthem 5 E6 custom. Like it a lot. AKG K370 Bluetooth sounds the same no matter what EQ. Yeah, unfortunately, some headphones just or and IAMs just don't take the EQ very well. Um, and then others you can notice it. Jonathan also said he's noticed that some of his earbuds, like KZ, sound less harsh when using a different cable than the stock one. It does make some differences. Um, in my bass head, no. I am a I'm a purist, so I like things that sound natural and neutral. And I do like a quality bass, a properly reproduced bass. Same thing with mids and treble. Um, More than that than a bass head. All right, so I'm going to start wrapping up. If you have any questions, please drop them in real quick, and we'll get to them in the next 5 minutes. And then I need to, I do need need to run. I've got a a honeydew list that I need to finish up. Um, if you don't know what a honeydew list is, just ask your wife, and she'll get you one. So there's this has been a good live stream. I do appreciate everybody joining. Lots of good questions and some comparisons requested that I hadn't even thought of. So thank you for all that. Let's see. Jonathan, my experience with Etymotic has been good, but not the most durable brand. I don't have any of them. Interesting. I've had Etymotics for about 2 years. I haven't had any issues, but I have heard that the two pin connections or not the two pin, the MMCX connection can be a little bit loose for some. So I haven't had that issue, but I haven't changed the cable. I've left the cable on, so maybe that's the deal. I don't know. I like Etymotic. I like their sound and their presentation, especially for vocals. Um, the fit can be a problem, and I think a lot of people don't like the deeper insertions like that. Let's see. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that. Do not like Moondrop variations. Actually, I do like the variations. Variations are very good. Good IEM, but I find that the Blessing 3 is actually a slightly better IEM in my opinion. The variations is a little too warm and a little bit too much bass, and it's a little bit mellow up top. It doesn't quite have sparkle and energy to it. I find that the Blessing 3 is more neutral in presentation, along with being a little bit more energetic and a little bit more accurate up top. And then I also find that the top has a little bit more, if you want to go variation style with the big bass, the top does the bass better and isn't quite as warm, and also has a little bit more sparkle and energy. But I like the variation. It just kind of sits in between the. So Jonathan said that his Etymotics got used at work a little bit too much and got a little bit. Yeah, I mean, a little extra pressure that'll definitely do it. So, um, one last question, and then we will head out the door for the day. Who's got the last question of the live stream? Surely there's one last question out there before I head out the door. No? Going once, going twice. No more. All right. So we will oh, here we go. Have a good day. Thank you very much. All right. So yeah, we will head out for the day. Thank you for swinging by. Greatly appreciate everybody being here today and joining me early in the morning or late in the evening, whichever it is for you, or midday like it is for me. Do greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for the questions and the comments. Much appreciated. If you're interested in supporting the channel, check out the links down below. There's all kinds of ways that you can do that. There's kinds of ways that you can contact channel, file channel, support channel, all that kind of stuff listed down below. There's all kinds of other information down there. Also, don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And thank you for watching. We'll do this again. And next review upcoming is going to be the V-Moda Crossfade 3 wireless. And that should be out on Tuesday. Talk to you all later. Thank you very much. Love you all. Have a good day.